Welcome everybody back to the home of the truth, unapologetic truth, the channel where we speak the truth and don't apologize for it. Why? Truth never apologizes. All right, today we're gonna get into World War III, right? World War III is not just gonna be against America and other countries. Yes, it's going to be that, but also it's going to be against Americans against Americans, right? All right. How do I know? Well, we're going to look at some of these clips and find out how I know. All right. So let's get to the first clip.
This advanced car paint sealant will remove any scratches, dirt, crack.
Well, let's mute it until the commercial goes. But yeah, it's gonna be a time. It's gonna be a time where this stress of nations is gonna happen, right? And I'm really hoping that y'all prepared for what's about to happen. You know, they've been trying to entice Civil War and World War III, right? They kill a lot of people, police and, you know, a lot of other things, and people's gonna get fed up with it. But a lot of people seeing through the manipulation because they've been trying to manipulate people into a war on American soil, right? So let's get to this video.
Weighing up the mood of conservative America at a gun show in West Virginia, among the rifle racks and ammunition, there's anger and dark talk of looming conflict.
I'm very worried about this country where it's going. If it keeps heading down the same way, they're going to push people into another civil war.
He's not the only one. Robert Brown sells vintage guns from the 19th century and says he also worries its civil war could be on the way back.
It could get worse. And it seems like every day it does get worse. And that's not good for us.
And if it gets worse, what kind of things do we see?
Not short of civil war. People's not going to stand for all of this stuff. It's going to be, you get your back on the wall, you got to come off of it.
Do you think there could be another civil war?
Excuse me. As you can see, a lot of Americans is worried about it's going to be a civil war, which it will be. The way things are going right now, it's trending towards a civil war and a world war, right? You see a lot of black folk being killed by police officers, not just police officers, but regular civilians, right? And 99.999% of them don't go to jail and they get off scot-free. From this keep happening, it's going to be a rise up against police brutality, and it's going to be a rise up against another nation. This is prophesied in the Bible that things like this will happen. We're going to get to that later also. But let's finish the clip.
A possibility.
Seriously.
Unfortunately. There's a lot of talk of it.
We found a lone Democrat at the show, here to buy ammunition, he said, in case things escalate.
If half the country decides to start going and killing Democrats, then, you know, I don't want to be a victim, you know. And, like, honestly, I've never thought about that happening until until the selection. Like legitimate fear that.
You seriously think that's a possibility?
Absolutely. So this is 762 by 50.
It makes for a combustible atmosphere as America braces for Donald Trump's second impeachment trial. At a gun store across town, no one wants the ex-president tried again.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. He's out of office. What are you going to impeach him for? Impeachment is for to remove him from office. He's already been removed. He was, whether you believe whether the election was stolen or not, I'm not going to get into it. But he's out of office. He's gone now.
In this part of America, it's like the election isn't over because so many won't accept its result.
Since the election, there have been more than 60 attempts in the courts by Donald Trump and his allies to challenge his outcome, and they've all failed. Despite that, in poll after poll, more than half of Republicans say they still believe the election was rigged against him.
As we can see, a lot of people buying up guns and weapons. This is why they putting this is why in my last video we spoke about them promoting gun control. Them trying to make laws to make it harder for you to buy guns and ammunition. This right here isn't the only reason. We're gonna find out more as we get into more of these video clips. Alright, let's go to something else. Alright, now, we see that tensions are rising in America. Not with just violence against black folks, but also anti-government people is rising up, and they want to take back their country, right? So now, let's see how the World War III is coming about. Well, let's get to, World War III. Let's go to this one first. In this one, we're going to see that Russia and China are joining forces to combat America, right? They've been wanting to destroy America. So, let's get into this one.
Ukraine Prime Minister says this morning Russia wants to, quote, start World War III. And Secretary of State John Kerry is warning Russia not to ignore the threat of...
And Russia is trying to promote and start World War III. So, also China as well. So, we're going to get into that. I'm going to let you see the clip, and then I'm going to give you my take on it.
Of new economic sanctions.
Let me be clear. If Russia continues in this direction, it will not just be a grave mistake, it will be an expensive mistake.
Ukraine's military says it is starting the next stage of attacks against pro-Russian militias. Holly Williams is in Donetsk, one of the cities where demonstrators hold government buildings. Holly, good morning.
Good morning. Ukraine's government said today it will mount a blockade of a town just north of here, which is held by pro-Russian separatists. And that comes amidst the worst tensions between Washington and Moscow since the end of the Cold War. Russia has massed tens of thousands of troops on its border with Ukraine and is now carrying out military exercises. So far, US intelligence does not believe they're readying for an imminent invasion. But tensions inside Ukraine are running high. Government soldiers began their offensive on the road to Slavyansk yesterday, moving in and forcing pro-Russian militants to abandon this checkpoint. Though when we arrived just a few hours later, we found the area back under the control of the separatists. Hello. One of the insurgents, Vasily, told us the government troops stole their food and medicine and then left again. If Ukraine's security forces can't hold a checkpoint like this one, they could struggle to take back the town of Slavyansk, which is just 3 miles.
As we can see, civil war is not just going to be in America, on American soil. It's also going to be globally. Everyone, every country, every state, every city every town, it would be war on that soil.
Miles in that direction and a separatist stronghold. Slavyansk has been under the control of masked pro-Russian gunmen for more than a week. Moscow denies US accusations that its agents are here helping the insurgents, but it's made no secret of its sympathy for their cause, and Russia claims it has the right to intervene in eastern Ukraine if its interests are attacked. Russian President Vladimir Putin said yesterday that if Ukraine used force against its own people, that would be a grave crime that would incur unspecified consequences. Ukraine's government dropped these leaflets on the Slavyansk area yesterday, warning local residents to stay indoors and to keep a lookout for Russian terrorists and saboteurs. Anthony?
Holly Williams, thanks.
Now, as we can see, Russia really wants to start this World War III, right? Vladimir Putin and Xi of China is joining forces with each other, right? They are joining forces to combat America, to combat the sanctions America put on China and Russia. See, America is digging its own hole, it's digging its own grave. Because what they're starting is a coalition of countries that's gonna come together and they're gonna battle against America. Now, America has some weapons, right? They have weapons. They have weapons of mass destruction. But China has way more people in their army, way more better technology than we do. And that's combined with Russia. And we know Russia has some major technology, major weapons on their hands. So imagine this. Imagine China, Russia, Iran, Iraq, and all these different places come together to fight, to invade America. What can America do? They don't have the artillery, they don't have the manpower to combat that. Which is what's really going on right now. Let's look at the next clip and find out. Well, after the ad goes. But like I said, America is digging its own grave by intervening with other countries.
Quote right, the translator hopefully has got it right. Best and bosom friend was the exact wording used by the Chinese leader when talking about President Putin. This annual forum is an opportunity, of course, for President Putin to showcase the best that Russia has to offer. But the way it's being run this year has changed a little bit in that, of course, the Chinese leader is spending 3 days in Russia. He arrived in Moscow yesterday to a red carpet welcome, and there were plenty of opportunities for a lot of glad handing. And
as we can see, we see that Russia and China are becoming, as it says on the screen, best friends. They are starting a coalition, and they are not the only ones that are going to be starting a coalition together. Watch what I tell you when Iran and North Korea and a lot of other places will join with them.
A lot of smiles, and let's just play you a couple of clips here. I think they give you a good sense of the tone of that meeting. Let's start with Premier Xi. Let's hear what he had to say.
Our bilateral relations have not reached the maximum and can become even better. We are ready to work together with Russia in order to continuously increase the effect of our country's high-level cooperation, so that our cooperation could give our two peoples a bigger sense of achievement, and so that we could promote Russian-Chinese agenda in the international affairs.
Of course, it's been some years since the official pivot east here in Russia to try to offset the impacts of sanctions after the annexation of Crimea. So President Putin very keen to celebrate the increase in bilateral trade that we've seen between these two countries.
Last year, we set a goal to reach $100 billion in bilateral commodities turnover. Due to the efforts of our teams, our two governments, we have exceeded this number. We have $108 billion. And this year, in the first quarter of this year, trade is also on the increase. It is already more than 3.4%.
Now, both sides have been talking up this meeting as a way for the two countries to escalate their current relationship to almost formal alliance status here. And of course, the reality is, because of the trade war and the economic pressure that China is getting from the United States, and because of the sanctions on Russia, there are quite a lot of common areas that unite these two countries as they look at their relationship with the United States. But
see, now watch what I tell you. China and Russia is going to recruit other countries to join the coalition. America ain't going to have no choice but to back down. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The way America is getting into other people's political affairs, the way they run their own country, they have a freedom to do that. America has no right going into other people's countries and try to take over and try to colonize their country. You're going to see more and more countries come together and band together against America. All right, let's finish the clip.
One thing just to bear in mind here, even as there are apparently closer ties, and we're going to get a slew of economic deals announced over the next 2 days here, actual Chinese investment into Russia has been declining, and that is something that I think a lot of Russian businessmen are asking themselves questions about. If this relationship is going to get stronger, then they'd like to see the money coming back the other way from China. But we'll be here over the next couple of days reporting on this. We've got a great lineup of business people, top executives in Russia, and of course one or two leaders in their industries who will tell us just exactly what's going on with this relationship with China and how the Russian economy is faring at the moment. I have to say the numbers early on in the year didn't look that strong. We'll be asking why. Let me send it back to you.
All right, now let me get two things for you. Let me get some scripture for you, all right? For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon. We know that America is the daughter of Babylon. We know this. So, an assembly of great nations from the north country. We know that Russia sits directly north of America, right along with Europe, because Europe and Russia sit side by side, which is north of America, right? Let's read it again. I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. And from thence she shall be taken. The arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. So the arrows that's speaking about is talking about weapons. It's talking about bombs and things like that. And no, it won't come back in vain. It's going to tear America into a new one. It's going to tear America into shreds. But remember, I said, they're not the only ones. A lot of countries going to come together and band together against America and destroy this place. All right, let's get to another one. This goes to show you right here that it's going to be a world war and a civil war going on at the same time, right? And when this is Mark 13, 7 through 8. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. That's not the end. You're gonna see wars, and you're gonna hear about rumors of wars and all that, but it's still not the end yet. But the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation, nation against nation, which means a civil war. It's going to be, if you know what the word nation means, nation comes from the word nationality. We know what nationality means. It means clan, tribes, people of the same religion, background, you know what I'm saying, all of this, right? So we know that it's going to be one people in the country against another people in the country, right? And then it says kingdom is against kingdom. We know the kingdom means your country. So this country going to be going against the next country. Like America going to be going against Russia and China and Iran and Iraq, North Korea. You know, all these places they went and tried to war-tear these countries. They're all going to band together and go against America, right? And there shall be earthquakes, which we already see in diverse places, and there shall be famines, which we already see coming about, and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. It's just the beginning of sorrows. Now let's see some of the people who are rising up in America for this civil war that's going to come, that's going to go down, right? All right, now, see that one. Let's go here. Hold on. Here we go.
For millions of Americans, there seems to be...
Oh, that's not it. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now, we already seen these here. Right? Let's look at this one.
It's a little more than 100 miles outside the capital, but several different armed militia gathered, despite the heightened security and worries of violence ahead.
These are people that's rising up to begin this civil war. Because regardless of what anybody say, this civil war is going to happen regardless. World War III is going to happen regardless.
Ahead of Wednesday's inauguration. These are the Boogaloo Boys, anti-government, fervently pro-guns, and proud to admit they have a certain power because of their weapons.
As an outsider looking in, you've got all these different groups with different affiliations and different allegiances, all tooled up, wearing, you know, quite heavy machinery. It doesn't look like the best sort of foundation for peace.
Alright, so first.
Now listen to him. Listen to what this guy is saying. All right, pay attention.
Peacefully protest without any infringement from the police department. When we show up these things armed, they really don't mess with us. If we come out here unarmed, they've shown a history of doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Stay free! Stay free! A couple of streets away, we found the Black Panthers circling the state capitol building, which has been sealed.
Which is another group that's rising up, getting ready for this civil war. There's two groups, right?
Off in case of attacks. This militia, equally heavily armed, were keen to impress how persecuted they felt for years.
Tell us a little bit about your fears about the far-right extremism in America. I mean, as a foreigner looking in, that seems to be a big issue here.
The thing about it, I just can't reiterate, as being a black man in America, any type of fear, there's no type of fear that we haven't experienced every single day of our lives. Like, this has literally been our reality our entire lives. So right now, this is nothing new. You're not saying anything new to us.
The militia appear to have different ideology and sometimes none, and there's a clear rivalry and distrust between them.
How divided would you say the country is at the moment?
Rivalry and distrust between the two militias. It's gonna come to a point where one of the sides is gonna go in, and then it's gonna be an all-out war on the streets. The police is not gonna interfere, but I'm pretty sure NATO will come in and bring their army in, and it's gonna be war against them. It's gonna circle around. Let's get more information.
As divided as the government wants us to be.
And how divided is that?
You
got a problem?
Not necessarily, hopefully not.
Tell me what you think the problem is.
If I could, we can continue to talk. So once we get where we're going, we're headed to 8th and Broad.
What is it you worry about?
Proud Boys are not.
Yeah, not our kind of team.
No, they're definitely not individuals we want to associate with.
Virginia's state capital was fenced off and streets shut down. Pro-gun activists descended on Richmond, once the capital of the Confederacy during the US Civil War. They want looser gun laws. Although an annual event, tensions are high ahead of the presidential ceremony.
This is the reason they say they want looser gun laws. This is the reason why they is promoting gun control. They don't want these militias to have guns. They don't want people to be able to protect themselves. They don't want these militias to be able to buy any kind of gun or any kind of ammunition. So they passing laws behind people's backs to get this dissolved. Right?
And there were real fears there'd be clashes. And most of these are ardent Trump supporters, still arguing they've been cheated and who are going to take some convincing.
Safety in America? No problem with this.
See?
This is what keeps Americans safe.
They ain't playing.
This is the challenge for the new president, pulling together all these disparate groups and the many militia who are armed, who are feeling suspicious and worried about the future. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Virginia.
Now we see militias is coming about, right? Let's take a look at another militia that's actually sprung up and ready for war, right? Which is the Civil War. All right, let's go. Well, let's wait till the commercial ends. But we see all these militias. These not the only four. It's way more militias that's across America right now that's buying up weaponry and buying up artillery and getting ready. They know what's finna go down. They know it's gonna be a civil war. They know this, right? So, let's get to this video here. All right.
Lawsuit this month, claiming his rights were violated during an encounter with then Windsor, Virginia police officer Joe Gutierrez and Daniel Crocker. The lawsuit, first obtained by the Washington Post, says Nazario is asking for at least $1 million in damages and for the court to rule his constitutional right.
All right, let's see. This is not the one I wanted to get. So, let's go back. Then come back. Now, here we go. This is the one. All right, now we're gonna take a look at this other militia. This other militia, well, a lot of people know who they are because they in fact is not messing around. That's what their name is, right? So we're gonna see what this militia is all about and why they created this militia. All right, now.
Too often feels unprotected and the group that's stepping up to do something about it. They're known as the NFAC, an unarmed all-black militia. You might have seen an armed black militia that you might have seen at protests in Georgia, Kentucky, and DC. Joining us now from Atlanta with more on this, NBC News correspondent Morgan Radford. Morgan, tell us about this group.
Now, this is supposed to be the biggest militia group in America because they done rose up in not just one but 3 states and continue to spread across America. All right, let's get it.
Mika, good morning. The bottom line is this group says that the U.S. government, as well as law enforcement, simply does not do enough to protect black Americans in this country, which is why they say they're taking matters into their own hands. And interestingly, Mika, this is a group that is growing. They say they now boast recruits in nearly every single state. So we decided to go and embed with them and see exactly what they're doing and why. Take a listen.
Every single state. Every single state. Let's go.
The sounds of war, right here at home. This is the NFAC, an all-black militia with a mission to defend the black community by any means necessary.
So this is training for one of the new chapters.
Yes. Appearing by the hundreds at protests from Stone Mountain, Georgia to Louisville, Kentucky, demanding justice for police killings and countering what they believe is the threat of right-wing militias. It's a movement started...
You see? Militia against militia, which will factor in everyone else around them. There's gonna be a civil war. The militias is rising up. The militia is rising, all the militias is rising up, from black militias to white militias to Mexican militias. They all are rising up. And they all together hate the government, but also hate each other. Let's go.
In 2017 by this man, former musician and Army veteran John Grandmaster J. Johnson.
Is the movement growing?
By leaps and bounds.
We met with him outside of Cincinnati, where he says another new chapter is now in the works.
The NFAC stands for the Not Effing Around Coalition.
What's behind the name?
The NFAC was born out of the last 4 years under the Trump administration. The deterioration of racial relations in this country. It means that you're preparing yourselves to defend yourselves.
While the group style echoes the Black Panther Party of the 1960s, their goals are distinct, focusing on defense with the ultimate goal of a black ethno-state.
What makes us so different is that our goal is our own government, our own country, a place where we can determine our own future.
Is violence an option to reach your goals?
The United States was built on violence being an option. Violence should be the last option.
Extremism experts say the group is distinct from far-right militias.
They have not risen to the level of concern of, say, the 3%ers, the Oath Keepers. They have not engaged in violence. In fact, in most of their demonstrations, they have in fact coordinated their activities with police.
When you talk about January 6th, and we saw those rioters storm the Capitol, what do you say to critics who say you're no different from them? They're extremists, you're extremists.
Show me where we have done those things. They've killed people. They've disrespected the government to the point where they have invaded its sacred halls. Show me where we've done those things, because we have done none of them.
We were allowed rare access to one of their training sites at a secret location in rural Georgia. We are now driving to the NFAC training facility. We spoke to one member who chose to go by the code name Shy to protect her anonymity.
This one is the handgun.
Correct, yes.
And then what do you guys do next?
We are going to the area where we practice our primary weapons firing.
Why did you decide to join this movement?
It's for the cause. Black people, we need to learn how to defend ourselves. This is definitely one way to do it.
Do you all, have normal jobs? You work in all different sectors? And
absolutely. We're business owners, we're doctors, lawyers, we're your everyday person, anywhere from Walmart to the corporate sector.
What are you all training for?
We're training for self-defense.
A response to show they won't be scared or unprotected any longer. Mika, we asked the group several times to give us an exact number of their membership. They refused to do so, but it appears...
So why would they give you the exact number? That's giving away, it's just giving away their secrets. Like, come on now, you didn't ask the other ones for their exact number. You feel what I'm saying? But anyway, as we see, there is war coming here in America on both sides. There's going to be a civil war, and then there's going to be a World War III. The only way you can destroy America is what? In itself. From the inside. So we see militias is rising. We see countries is coming together to combat America. So what are you going to do? You need to prepare yourself for what's about to happen. Because regardless whether you believe it's going to happen or not, it's going to happen. As you can see, it's rising in front of your face. I don't care if you black, I don't care if you white, I don't care if you Korean, I don't care if you Mexican or whatever other nation you are here in America, you better be prepared for what's about to happen. One day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna smell gun smoke. You're gonna hear guns going off like you in a war zone, bombs going off. It's going to happen. Every superpower has been destroyed. Every superpower country has been destroyed or taken over. America is no exception. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I got more content coming for you. Make sure you share the video. Sharing the video helps the algorithm for new audiences to find my channel and hear the truth. Okay. Also, make sure that you subscribe. If you subscribed already, I appreciate it. I really do appreciate the support. Now, if you haven't subscribed and you're watching the video, support the channel, man. Subscribe, support the channel. help the channel grow, help the channel get more people to come to the home of the truth, to hear the truth. The unadulterated truth. The unapologetic truth. All right, man. I love y'all. Peace to everyone. This is Unapologetic Truth. Signing out.